Good morning and welcome to Cuyahoga County's Community Development Committee meeting. It is Monday, April 18th, 2022. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please.
As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Stevens.
Present.
Mr. Jones.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Ms. Baker.
Here.
We have a quorum. Also
Thank
like the
you.
record to reflect that Councilmember Miller is also in attendance.
Is there any public comment this morning?
No, Madam Chair, no one submitted any public comment.
Have my colleagues had a chance to review the minutes from March 28th, our last meeting?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. And now, matters before this committee. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 2022-0101, making awards to various municipalities in the total amount of $2,733,018 for various municipal grant projects in connection with the 2022 Community Development Block Grant Program for the period April 1st, 2022 to September 30th, 2022.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
Thank you. And committee, Kate Fian, Department of Development. First of all, I would like to thank my leadership team, Sarah.
Excuse me,
Parsons.
Kate, can you speak into the microphone?
Yes. Director Paul Herdig, the county executive and county council for the opportunity and the honor to make these recommendations here today on behalf of the Department of Development. It's an honor to be a part of this good work being done in our community. And I know this committee is well aware of the merits of both of these worthwhile annual community development programs on your agenda today. So I will be brief in my presentations and happy to answer any questions you might have. So firstly, we are submitting our recommendations for approval of awards for the 2021 CDBG Municipal Grant Program. This is an annual competitive program funded by federal community development block grant funds from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. This program is open to the 51 members of the urban county. The urban county consists of non-entitlement communities who have signed a cooperation agreement to participate. Of the 59 municipalities in Cuyahoga County, 6 are entitlement communities. And those are Cleveland, Cleveland Heights, Lakewood, East Cleveland, Euclid, and Parma, meaning they each receive their own federal dollars. And Hunting Valley and Brecksville have chosen not to participate as members of the urban county. So the 2021 municipal grant process began October 12th, 2021, with an informational meeting and question and answer session and the release of the application and instructions. The applications were due back to Department of Development on January 7th of 2022. 22 communities submitted applications for consideration with a total ask in the amount of a little over $3 million. So again, this is an annual competitive process as is required by the cooperation agreement. All applications must meet a national objective of benefiting low to moderate income persons or aiding in the prevention of slum and blight. A review committee comprised of Department of Development staff thoroughly reviewed and scored all of the 22 applications submitted and have recommended 20 applications for funding in the amount of $2,733,018. I'm open to any questions.
Do my colleagues have any questions? Mr. Miller.
Madam Chair, thank you very much, and I have a question and a comment. The question is, who submitted applications that were not approved?
So that would be Cuyahoga Heights was not recommended, and Newburgh Heights was not recommended, sir.
Okay. And the comment that I have is that I know in the past, for some reason, we've passed these items on the full 3 readings, but the winter is over, we're well into spring, people are eager to get going, and I would encourage my colleagues to pass the two resolutions with a recommendation for suspension so that that people out there in the communities can get up and running and
I was
get it
going to go
underway.
there. To my colleague, staff has already whispered that to me, and I'm already there in full support. And I think our colleagues know the value of moving these programs expeditiously to our communities. So
I'm
not a
happy to hear
problem.
that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Mr. President?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. The two cities, Newburgh and Cuyahoga Heights, are they aware yet that they have not been approved, and have they requested insight into why they were not?
Yes, sir, I do believe that they are aware that they were not approved. I can say that we have spoken with Cuyahoga Heights and believe referred them to the Land Bank for some assistance, or I'm sorry, State of Ohio program, but they've been referred for a different funding source.
Another way to,
Yes, and Newburgh Heights, that application scored very low, and we, frankly, it was a dog park, so there were some questions about eligibility of even that project, sir.
okay. All right, thank you.
Just curious on the street and road repairs. Why is it that that would be part of this and not in our street and road repair programs that we have? For example, Warrensville Heights for street and road repair, that's pretty broad.
Sure, yes, absolutely. So one of the eligibility requirements would be that it is in a low to moderate income area, benefiting the residents who live in that specific area, or also an improvement target area. So some of these projects actually end up in both. So it's like a dual benefit, but the roads, as long as they are in one of those areas, that is how it becomes eligible for the program.
So could this, for example, be part of a bigger program, this 150,000 for Warrensville Heights? Could that be part of a larger road improvement and another 150 was needed, or?
Specifically on that project?
Well, I guess of any project. Could this be an enhancement of what's already being done? I think you're going to get some help.
Not sure how to do it.
Good morning. Sarah Parks Jackson, Cuyahoga County Department of Development. Chairman, to the councilwoman, yes. And there are times where when we make these awards to projects, they are part of larger projects. I'm thinking of one in Bedford Heights in particular that had state money and RTA funding because of the project. So sometimes, yes, we are just one of the funding sources, and sometimes we're the only.
To follow up on my colleague's question, what is the project in Warrensville? Do you either of you remember?
I believe this is actually a phase 3.
So if it's a phase 3, there's got to be lots of other money added to this.
Yes, it's phase 3, Clarkwood Parkway and Granada Boulevard. And if my memory serves me correctly, this is also in the neighborhood of a school.
If I may.
Yes, please.
This project that Warrensville Heights is embarking on, they have been doing for a while. It is by the new
Excuse me, Sarah,
library.
can you speak into the microphone? Sorry.
It is by the new library and the Y, and they are aggressively reconfiguring that area and doing modernization, and every year.
So that is the roadway north and east of the new library?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And so are they doing, like some of that infrastructure was old back behind to the north and east of the library. So they're ripping out all of the sidewalks as well as doing some resurfacing.
I don't have the application in front of me, but we can send it to you, but I'm
Okay.
certain they are, a lot of our cities, when they apply for these funds, especially when they're doing infrastructure work, do it piecemeal because that's the only way they can afford it. So they'll do from Block A to Block D, and then the following year, they will ask for additional funds to do Block D through F.
So let's use this as an example for my colleague and the committee. If you would do the cliff notes on this one, what you think the total what the documentation tells you the total project cost is, and what this dollar amount, what we see as a percentage of the entire total project. And it's, it's so generic, it's street and road repair. Is it for the sidewalks and the curbing and putting those things that allow kids to tap them and change the signal? All those kinds of good things.
Certainly,
If
Madam
you'll
Chair.
let us know that.
We
Thank
can
you.
get you that information.
If I may to follow up, and I thought perhaps what you would say is some of our cities can't afford the 80-20 or the 50-50. They have to put in their own municipal funds and pass on some programs because they can't afford their share. So I thought perhaps this was maybe an example of that they just couldn't afford to do whatever was remaining because they can't afford their percentage of contribution. And maybe that is part of it. I'm glad to see that they're on the list and that the money is needed. It's been vetted, so I'm sure that it's all good. I just wondered, street and road repair, that seemed pretty broad, and why is it wasn't included? And I thought perhaps it was because maybe they couldn't afford their share of the 80-20 or 50-50. So thank you for allowing me to ask that question.
If there's nothing else, do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion passes, and, I want to amend that, or there was the inference that this would be passed under suspension. Can we get you to confirm that, Madam
Yes,
Colley?
I will make the motion that this would be under suspension of the rules.
Second that.
Thank you. Both the first and the second have agreed to that amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to recognize my colleague, Sunny Simon, has joined us for the record. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 2022-0102, making awards to various municipalities and nonprofit organizations in the total amount of $1,776,685 for various projects or programs in connection with the 2022 Community Development Supplemental Grant Program for the period April 1st, 2022 to March 31st, 2023.
Good morning. Kate Fian, again, Department of Development. We are pleased to submit our recommendations for approval of awards for the 2022 Cdsg Supplemental Grant Program. This is an annual competitive program authorized by council resolution and funded by the Community Development Fund. This program is open to all 59 Cuyahoga County communities and 501c3 community development corporations. So the 2022 Cdsg supplemental grant process began October 12th, 2021, with the release of the 2022 application and instructions, an informational session with potential applicants to go over the requirements and instructions of the application and answer in detail and answer any questions they may have. And applications were due to the Department of Development on January 21st, 2022. 37 applications were received. A total of 29 communities and 8 nonprofits submitted applications for consideration in a total amount of almost $1.8 million. County Council allocates $1.5 million annually to fund this program. After a review of the previous round's funding actually expended, it was identified that there are sufficient funds to fund all 37 applications received by carrying forward funds awarded but not expended in the past. As such, we did not convene a review committee. Staff of the Department of Development reviewed every application to ensure that they all met the Community Development Supplemental Grant requirements. As such, the Department of Development is pleased to recommend approval of awards on all of the 37 applications received, as it has been determined that they meet the community development need and program guidelines as required. I'm open to any questions.
Questions from my colleagues?
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms.
Madam
Simon.
Chair. The communities that did not apply, I think there's probably a handful that have never applied, perhaps. Has there been conversations with those communities why they're not participating?
With some of them. Sarah?
Good morning, Sarah Parks Jackson again. Councilwoman through the chair. Cities, for example, like the city of Cleveland is well aware of the program and has chosen not to participate. There are other municipalities that are aware of the program and just simply have chosen not to participate for whatever reason. The 50,000 is not enough, or they just don't have a community development need, if you will, or what they have determined to be a community development need. But all of our cities are aware of the program, and as a matter of fact, when the application goes out, it goes out to everyone.
Thank you. Some of the sentiment that I get back for a couple of the communities I represent is that, you know, they're doing fairly well relative to other communities that have greater needs, and perhaps it wouldn't be fair or not right to apply, even though there are community needs. They would be able to apply just on a project basis. It doesn't matter what their mean income is from their residents, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get that communication to them as well, that this is, so that's some of the feedback I'm getting. Have you heard that?
I have not.
Okay.
Sarah?
No. Councilwoman, no, I have not.
Okay, but we would welcome everybody to apply.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller?
Just a couple of comments. First, I would definitely agree with Ms. Simon's sentiment that this program was specifically designed to go beyond programs where there's income or other restrictions, and I mean the program in the first resolution has these limitations, which prevents or limits a lot of communities from applying, but this program is intended to be available to everybody. So I agree with that sentiment. And the second, regarding the city of Cleveland not applying, I would just mention that's as the city of Cleveland itself, and both of the two CDCs that are in the Cleveland portion of my district have applied for this program on multiple occasions and have received awards. So Cleveland is participating at the CDC level. Thank you.
Question,
me.
Chair, if I may.
Are there any other comments? Ms. Baker?
I also have a few cities that aren't in this, and certainly we'll get back to them and do the same to make sure that they are aware that this is, I'm surprised that a couple of them aren't, but people are busy and maybe mayor's missed it. It's hard to say. One question I had, some of these are at the maximum of 50,000, and then there are a few that are 15,000, 48,000. Are these projects exceeding 50, and so that's why they got the max? How did they give an example of 50,000 needed?
Sure. Yes, ma'am. 50,000 is the maximum that any community or nonprofit can apply for in this program. So some of these projects are coming in well over 50,000, and they have other funding sources. Any that you see that have come in under 50,000, that was the amount that was applied for. So they may have some other funding, or the project may have just come in under 50,000.
Okay, is it, I hate to assume, is it likely that those that applied for the full 50 are bigger projects than just the 50,000? I mean, it's hard to hit the nail right on 50.
Correct. If I recall correctly, and I don't have the applications in front of me, some of them are coming in right around 50. Some are coming in at more than 50, but they have the other funding to cover those costs.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
When does the next application cycle begin, and what would be the deadline for submitting?
Sure, yes, sir. So we expect to release the applications probably in the early fall, again, with early January deadline. But
Ms. Simon? I'm just checking, because I've looked the other way a couple of times when you were trying to get my attention.
You know, Madam Chair, as long as you looked at me, in response to colleague Baker, Councilwoman Baker's question about the maximum and the size of the projects, I just want to give you an example. In South Euclid, their CDC has a loan program for home repairs. So that money, there's no maximum or minimum. It's just a matter of getting those grants out to residents who need help. So it's extremely impactful, this 50,000. But that's an example of a little bit of a different project that's not closing the gap on.
Thank you.
Madam
Was
Chair,
there
if I
another
may.
question? I'm sorry, Ms. Parks Jackson?
I just wanted to add that some of the CDSG recipients are also recipients of our CDBG Muni grants. For example, the city of Richmond Heights is receiving 50,000 in CDSG and also receiving 150,000 for the Muni grant, and we have a couple other communities
Is that for the same project, the 150 and the 50?
It is for their community center. It's different activities, same project. And then a lot of our CDSGs they either are in phases or they are leveraging additional funding beyond what this body has allocated to us on an annual basis.
Thank you. All right, there are no further questions from my colleagues, nothing else from staff. I'll accept a motion.
I'll make that motion to accept.
And this time, we're going to say up front that we will
And
suspend.
we will, under suspension of the rules.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Simon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion moves forward. You have the ability to move this forward to council under suspension. Is there anything else, Madam Clerk?
No, Madam Chair.
To my colleagues, any miscellaneous business? If not, we are going to adjourn. Thank you, and we'll see you at our next meeting.